to the Carl Jackson Podcast. I am excited and delighted that you guys are watching us on CJC Network and on TheGrid Network. We do replays and CJC2. You can watch CJC2 on TV Stream. And you can also watch episodes on Spotify. We're lucky enough or blessed enough to have our episodes on Spotify where you can watch at any time VOD. Today we have a special guest. Her resume is so big that I don't even know where to start. Like, her resume started when she was infant, and she's now 25 years old.
Yes.
So I'm just going to start with her name. The best way to start is Shana Dee Snoop Dogg. Shana Dee Snoop Dogg. Shana Dee Snoop Dogg. Would you welcome with me, Shana Dee?
Hey, 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 hey.
I love Shana Dee, guys.
Aww.
We text each other all the time. She's one of my best friends. And I get on her nerve.
Yes.
I get on her nerve.
Yes.
I get on her nerve with my conspiracy theories and all the things that we talk about. But I wanted you on the show because this is season 7, and I'm only going to do this podcast, as I've said many times, I'm only going to do it to season 10 because that's a good chunk of audio from all my friends and celebrity friends and people that I believe people want to hear about. And so at season 10, I'm going to change it up a bit and do maybe a late night talk show or something. But
oh, that'd be nice.
This ain't your time to talk.
Oh, my bad.
This is your time to listen.
My bad.
Okay. This is what we do all the time. We do this all the time. So, so I wanted to have you on before I stopped doing podcasts because of your resume. You've done so much stuff, starting with you being a child actor.
Yes.
And you've done Different Strokes. You've done the Jeffersons. You played Wheezy Jefferson
I did.
on the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
You had a spinoff, and I just found this out like maybe this week. You had a spinoff show that was about to happen with Don Rickles.
Yes. It was
The
a spinoff from
legendary-
Give Me a Break.
Okay, so it was a spinoff from Give Me a Break.
Yes.
Don Rickles, and I actually saw one of the episodes, the full episode, the other day.
Oh,
And I
oh,
couldn't
goodness.
believe, and I couldn't believe that you almost had a sitcom with Don Rickles.
I know, and he was awesome to work with. It was with Nell Carter, because remember she was from Give Me a Break, and then so they did the spinoff. So that's where you saw the show where she introduces me from her. So yeah, her character. Yeah.
What was that like to work with Don?
You know what? I was young.
Right.
So I don't remember everything.
Did
but
you know who he was though?
I knew he was a famous comedian.
Okay.
But I didn't know the level.
Yeah.
Of how big he was.
He's like.
And he was really nice.
Okay.
You know, and if I was around, like he would talk to me, and he was really cool. He wasn't as snarky as he came off. Like he was really just cool. Like he would talk, he would joke and say little things, but he was really nice. I don't remember having a bad experience at all. Like I was really excited and hoping the pilot took off.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I did 2 pilots actually. Another pilot was I don't even remember the name of the show, but that didn't work out either. But I was excited about this one because it was a spinoff from Give Me a Break.
Yeah, of course. That was going to be a hit. So what was Don like on set outside of him being nice? Was he like hard on you with learning lines?
No, he was not hard on me and learning the lines, but you have to understand, by the time I did that, I had been acting.
Okay, so you were professional.
Yeah, I had already done Different Strokes was my first.
We have a clip from Different Strokes, I think, a little bit, some B-roll of Different Strokes.
Yeah, Different Strokes, that was my first job. And you know,
that's you right there talking to Arnold, right?
That is me.
In the pink dress?
I invented the term Arnie Poo.
That was you?
I was the first one to do that. Yeah, I was Francine. They told me to call him Arnold, and I said Arnie Poo for some reason.
Really? That was you?
And then they were like, keep it. And I was like, oh, I messed up. And they said, keep it. So then so that was my first acting job on TV. Was Different Strokes, yeah.
That was your first job?
My first job, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, lots of fun memories on that set, too.
So tell us a little bit about the memories of this.
That set, I just remember we were all in school because we're all kids.
Right.
So we had to have set school together.
Right.
Everyone was so cool. I remember Todd and Dana, they were older. So they were like, hey, you know, well, we're going to go eat. Come with us. Like they made sure I wasn't by myself. And the guy that played Vernon, everyone that had lines, we were all in school together. And I just remember we had so much fun. I remember Gary Coleman, he kept trying to leave. He didn't want to do what he was supposed to do. The set teacher was mad. And we used to just be laughing. He would be like, I don't want to do this. I don't feel like it. He just was That's when I realized he was older.
Right.
I thought he was my age at first.
Okay.
But he was older. I didn't know. And I was like, wait a minute, he's really talking back, but he was a teenager.
Wow.
And I was a lot younger. And Todd Bridges' mom played my mom in that episode.
Okay.
Yeah, so she would pop up, what are y'all doing? And come in the room. And later he was like, Mom. And I was like, that's your mom. Your mom is playing my mom. And yeah.
This dance you're doing right here, what is that? What was that?
That was I don't know, shake your groove thing. Boogie on down to the ground. I don't know.
So how old were you in this episode?
I was at least maybe 7 or 8.
7 or 8, okay.
Yeah, I was really young. And yeah, everyone was nice. Mr. Drum, everyone was so cool. And they were like a family.
Right.
So later in life, when I heard about all the tragic stories about the different actors, I was like, wow, because everyone was cool. Like,
right.
I didn't see anything. I mean, we were just kids.
Right.
They were teenagers, they were older than me, but it was cool. And I mean, it was really nice. And Jefferson's as well. I remember that one.
So what was that like working with George and Wheezy?
So with Jefferson's, like you mentioned, I played Louise.
You played her.
I was the youngest. Yeah,
you
I was
played her
the youngest
as a child, right?
I
remember that episode.
That episode.
We had just come home from church, my grandmother, and the first night that played, which was like, the first run of the show, I vividly remember that show, and I vividly remember watching it with my grandmother.
Oh,
yeah.
That's special. Yeah, it was really cool doing that show. I remember the table read. Everyone was so nice and cool. Isabel, she was a little...
Yeah, I heard.
She was the thespian, and she was, we were at table read, and she was just... And I'll never forget, I just want to call him Sherman.
Sherman Hensley.
He was across from me, and I remember he started drawing. He could draw characters on my script. He drew, and he did it upside down.
Oh,
then when I looked at it, they were like animals and characters.
Wow.
He was just really nice. He was like, yeah, I like to draw. He was just super cool. And he was like, you got your lines, and they were just all like really nice. She was more like distant from me, but you'll see the scene I'm in by myself.
Right.
So it was pretty much a monologue.
Yeah.
It was just a long monologue. And then,
how did you do that at that age? Like because that's a very pivotal scene in the show. And it's a powerful scene.
I could read, I could read, but I had an acting coach.
Okay.
I used to go to Al Fan's acting school, and Al Fan, if you Google him, he was huge back in the day. He was an African-American man and had one of the top acting schools ever. And he used to act. He used to be on all these commercials. And fun fact about that, Kim Fields, all of us went to acting school together.
Wow.
And Chip Fields was one of my teachers. So whenever I would get a gig or show, Chip or someone from the school would come on set. And they would just work the lines with me over and over, and it became like memory.
Wow.
So I would read it, but then they were like, no, and then they would say, how would you say this line? And I was learning how to put emotion to things and, try to think about what was my character doing. So for that, Jefferson's, it was that. I had to think about, okay, I'm being sent to my room. Why was I being sent to the room? And
you're 7 or 8 doing this, right?
I was maybe like 8 or 9. Wow. It was right after, I got it right after different shows.
So you were very professional. That explains our friendship, because you just like...
I know, I am like that. But yeah, and so my friends will laugh when they see this, because they always get on me about that. You ain't always got to be like, but yeah, so they just taught me, and they would work with me, and I would do the lines over and over. And then eventually it clicked, like, okay, I'm talking back to my mama. So I had to kind of think, oh, when I talk back to my mama for real.
Right.
But they wanted the sassiness,
right,
so
of course.
I was very sassy, and the dog was my best friend, and yeah, I don't know, it was just a gift from God, I would say, because I just got it like that.
And you've been acting since what age?
Like professionally, probably 7.
So what made you want to become an actor?
I don't know. I think my parents saw it in me.
Okay.
But I have an older sister and brother.
Okay.
And they used to do local plays. We're from Carson, California. And they used to do all these plays. The city of Carson used to have a theater troupe. They would do all these plays, and I would go, and then every now and then they would throw me in and play a little sister or some little role. And I would support them. My siblings were very into the arts. My brother's a musician, my sister sings, all of that. And so I think my parents just saw something in me, and then they put me to acting school. Once I was in acting school, I just fell in love with it.
Right.
And it was like every Saturday was acting school.
Right.
It just became, my life.
Your life, right. So we're gonna pivot a bit. So you're a teenager, you're acting, you're taking these gigs. What made you get into music?
So middle school, I slowed down on the acting because I called myself wanting to be a regular kid.
Right.
I asked to go to public school. And so I just kind of got.
So before this, you wasn't.
I was in private school the entire time.
Oh, wow.
I was in private school, yeah. And so
that's why we get along too. Because I was in private school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in private school, and in middle school, I begged my mom, "Can I go?" And so she was like, "Okay." And that kind of grounded me because it was like, "Whoa, wait a minute," you know.
Right.
And but when I got to high school, I don't know. I wanted to do something different, and I always could sing.
Right.
I sang in church. I always could sing, even as a little kid. Every summer, my mom and dad would send us to James Cleveland, and he had a workshop called the Gospel Music Workshop of America, and we would go every summer. And my sister would go, my brother would all go.
And for other people that are watching, that's a big thing in the black community. James Cleveland and Kojic.
Well, Baptist.
Well, Baptist, yeah.
Baptist, yeah. They have, Kojic have their own. But anyone in gospel music.
Kojic had their own
conference.
Just
when
like
it came
Baptist
to that
did.
music, though, they would come. They would come because
Kojic people would kick your.
No. I'm saying they would come to the workshop.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because that was the radio announcers were there.
Gotcha.
You know, that was the place to be to watch music.
Gotcha.
So anyway, that's when I got into music in high school, and we would sing in talent shows. And I think in my mind, I was always like, yeah, I know how to sing. I could sing, but I just loved it. I was never trying to be like, oh, I'm gonna be a professional artist.
Right.
It's just something I just like to do.
Wow.
And I got from high school, we formed a singing group. So it was two girls that I went to school with, and then later one left, and then it was another girl. So right when we graduated from high school was when we started to be a group, and that's where ×3 came.
×3.
That's where ×3 came, and it just all happened like boom, boom, boom. We had, you know, the comedian Michael Collier.
Yep. Oh yeah.
He used to be married to a lady named Brooke. She was our manager. Her daughter was in our group.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we went to his wedding. Funny story about that. I have to tell you another time. But we
Off
went,
record.
No, the wedding was beautiful, but we went to the wedding, and that was my first encounter with Eazy-E.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because one of the girls in the group, she had met Dr. Dre and him. She kind of knew him, and she was in the Express Yourself video and all of that. And somehow they got invited to the wedding. And I was living in a dorm, and I go outside thinking they're going to pick me up. It's Eazy-E.
Wow.
So I had to get in the car with Eazy-E. And you know me, the entire time, I was like, don't you smoke, don't you do, don't touch me. I was something else. He was like, why y'all stick me in the car with her? He was so mad. I was like, you just get me to the wedding. That's what you need to do. I mean, we were like an old couple arguing all the way there. Yeah, and then
I heard Eazy was really nice.
But he was nice.
I heard he was a really nice guy.
He was really nice. He was, and we all went to the wedding, and then after that, he was like, oh, y'all can sing. Okay. Now, backtracking a little bit before the wedding.
Right.
How I got the Michelet job was because this man named L.A. Dre, he used to like bring all the vocals in for, you know, the Wrecking Crew. Dr.
And tell people, Michelet is?
Michelet is an R&B singer. She was on Ruthless Records, which Eazy-E owned.
Eazy-E owned, right.
And they called my sister to come do a session.
Okay.
My sister couldn't do the session. She said, hey, my little sister, she's in college. She wants to make some money. Can she do the session? So I go to Torrance, and that's where we met everybody. And then right after that was the wedding. And then after that, Eric, Eazy-E, was like, hey, come back to the studio. So we go to do Michelet's record. So we did about 4 songs on there. And, you know, back then, no one knew what the digital world was going to be.
Right.
So when you look, it says backgrounds by X'3. He didn't even spell out ×3. It should have been ×3.
Right, of course.
He put X'3.
Wow.
So we're credited on there, but you don't know who we are. People don't know who we are.
So you work with Ruthless Records and Death Row.
Death Row was second, yeah.
And but the crazy thing is, Ruthless and Death Row are like.
Yeah, it was some years in between, though.
Okay.
It was some years because remember at that time, Dr. Dre, everyone was still with Ruthless.
Right.
Yeah, NWA was out, but they hadn't separated yet.
So what was Dre like, Dr. Dre?
Dre was really nice. He didn't talk much. Like, he wasn't a chatty person. But when he was in the zone in the studio, he was in the studio.
And you know Tupac. You met Tupac, right?
I met Tupac briefly. It was funny. We were at a club and a party, and they all came in. And I knew Suge because Suge
was your manager, right?
Suge's brother was our manager.
Okay.
Yeah, so after Brooke stopped being ×3 manager, we ended up meeting Wes Crockett. And Wes was like his, you know, I don't know if they were really blood, but yeah, they were very close.
Right.
They all used to bodyguard for Al Heyman Productions and do all those big Budweiser Superfest and all those tours.
Which was huge back in the day. Like, there was no tour bigger than Budweiser Fest.
So ×3.
For R&B.
×3 had a deal with Sony through Solar Records.
Oh.
Like, when I look back now, it was all
connected
and, like, these were legends, right? But I didn't know. And
I got asked to do a Solar Record. I think we talked about it. A Solar Record documentary. I turned it down, though.
Oh, I would have loved to have done that.
That history is too thick.
It's thick, yeah.
It goes way deep. But anyway, go ahead.
We had an experience there. So we were with Solar, distributed by Sony. We came out. Wes was our manager. So when we got reconnected with Dr. Dre, because some time had went by, it was through Suge.
Wow, Suge Knight.
And then my friend who knew Dr. Dre, they had reconnected. So the night that I went in to do the Snoop song, it was just like, hey, can you drive me to the studio? I'm going to go visit Dre or whatever.
So let's get this straight. So you're in the car, you're not knowing that you're getting ready to do Snoop Dogg's record.
Right.
Right? Now take us in the car.
No, I was in the car to drive someone to the studio.
Someone else?
Yeah, my friend who...
So you wasn't even going to sing?
No, I was not going to sing.
Wow.
No. And I was going there. So I was driving my friend to visit Dre. While we were there, it was... Now, granted, they did his first record. They did Dr. Dre's, I think, The Chronic at Solar. Solar used to have a studio on the 3rd floor. I never forget.
Third floor, yeah.
Yeah.
Babyface ended up buying that. Tracy and
they made
Babyface
it,
bought it.
Yes, they bought it.
Right.
But, yeah, so...
Bought the building.
By the second time, I'm like, where am I going? And this is when they had this other studio. Forgot the name of it. But it's where they ended up recording.
I have to say this about it. They'll correct me. Diane Warren now owns the building. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was going, I just like, where am I going, girl? You know, because you think about it, we didn't really have cell phones and stuff back then. We had little Sky pages or something. And she said, just come to this address. So when I get there, they let me in the gate. There's multiple studios. There's people everywhere. You know, they're partying, turning up. I'm like, she don't do this. Where am I supposed to be? Okay? Where am I supposed to be?
Right.
And so we go in there, and she's like, girl, we in here. So when I went, I was all right, you know, we went. She's like, let's hang out a little bit. So she was going to stay. I was never supposed to stay. And I said, okay. So Dre looked at me and he said, hey, while you're here, can you sing on a song, Don't Stop the Music?
So it wasn't even that song?
No.
It wasn't even Snoop's song?
It was a Snoop record, but it didn't make the record.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I said, okay, what do you want me to do? And I don't know if I could, like, sing it, but it was the remake. And Nate walked in.
Nate Dogg.
And he was like, Nate's going to do the man's voice. You're going to do the female voice.
Oh, nice.
And so the track was hot. It was fire. Of course. And Nate was going to do the Don't You Stop That. And I was going to do the I Just Want to Rock You All Night Long. Oh, yeah. I was going to do all of that. And
Sing, Shana.
So Snoop, who didn't know me, he walked in, but he was like, I don't know, Dr. Dre. I think it's a little too R&B for me. So we didn't do the track.
Oh, wow.
We didn't do the track. So I thought I'm finna go, and Dre was like, wait, no. Stay, because we're calling Jewel. We all knew who Jewel was.
Of course.
She was the signed Death Row singer. She won't come to the studio. I heard them say she won't come to the studio. And he was like, I just want you guys to just go in. So he called me, my friend. There was another girl there. There was some guys. I think they were Poor Broke and Lonely. I think they came out as a group, Poor Broke and Lonely.
That's a group, by the way, guys.
I think, yeah, that's the name of the group.
That's the name of the group, yeah.
But we all went in the booth. We all went in the booth together. And he said, I just want y'all to go, Snoop Dogg, Dogg. So we were all singing it. And I'm like, all right, cool. I come out. So he said, can you do some ad-libs? Because, you know, Jewel won't come. And he was like, I don't know if I'm going to keep them. And I said, well, if you keep them, I need my credit. And back then, it was all about you had to be in the studio. You just had to be there. There was no digital submitting paperwork. It was really old school. You had to have an AFTRA paper because they weren't merged with SAG. You had to get the producer to sign. Producer had to take it to the label. Label had to take it to... It was just all these hands. So a lot of us singers from the 90s, you know, paperwork was lost.
Right. Wow.
So for me, it was one of those situations where I didn't have the paperwork because I wasn't planning on being there. So I said, hey, if you keep it, I don't have my paperwork, we need to sign it. He was like, yeah, we'll take care of you. Just do some ad-libs. So my mind was thinking Jewel was gonna come and they'll re-record it. So when I went in the booth, I said, what do you want me to do? And he was like, just ad-lib. But me being from the church.
You took it to church.
Ad-lib.
Yeah, you took it to church.
But I was strategic. I said, okay, Jewel does a bunch of runs. Jewel, she has her own sound.
But she can't do church.
And I said, I'm gonna flip it. I'm
Right.
gonna do more straight notes. I'm gonna do a couple little curl notes.
So they'll know it's me.
So they'll know it's me.
Come on.
That's really where my goal was.
Right.
So I accidentally called him Snoopy because I was in the booth, and it was actually, I think, one take that I did that.
Really?
Yeah, because I said, I was like, doggy dog, doggy dog, doggy dog, what is his name? Snoopy Dog and the dog pound. So I just was like, whoa, yeah, I was trying to keep it straight.
Y'all hearing this?
And I called him Snoopy. And
Wow.
then after I finished it, I said, God, Trey, can I do it again? I called him Snoopy. And he was like, no, we keeping that. And he was like, I don't even know if it's going to make the record.
Wow.
So I was like, all right. You know, and I was like, well, you going to pay me? And he was like, I'll make the record. So I didn't even get any money.
You never got paid for that record.
I never got paid for that record.
And I saw somewhere you just got a plaque.
Yeah, which is another story.
Because I was working out and I heard the song in the gym that I work out at.
Yeah,
And it was like, to hear your voice, I'm like, she just got a plaque for this. And they play this song like
Forever.
everywhere.
Yeah, the crazy part about that, Carl, is when it, like, I did it, I think it probably was April-ish of '93. And I remember because I became a Delta, and it was around that same time. And then when it came out was around December. So, and I'm listening, I'm in the car and I hear my voice. I'm like,
You didn't even know you made the cut.
I didn't even know I made the cut.
Wow.
And I was like, that's my voice. So then I'm calling my friend, and she's like, I don't talk to them no more. And it was just a big mess. I called the union. The union after it was like, do you really want to fight that battle?
Oh, wow.
You know, because, you know, we don't know if Death Row's going to do da-da-da. And I was like, well, can I get my paperwork in? And they was like, well, you shouldn't have did it.
Wow.
And I was like, I know, but I thought it didn't make it. And it was a big ordeal. And I just said, well, I'm going to let it go. And I went to Wes, who was my manager at the time, and I said, hey, have you been talking to Suge? And he's like, oh, we fell out. So it was like every connection I had,
was just...
and he was just like, why you didn't call me? You know, when you went that day, I said, I wasn't planning to sing.
Sing, right. Wow.
And we didn't have cell phones. I wasn't planning to sing, you know? So it just all evolved where maybe a couple years, then I went to go sing for different people on the road. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing a lot of studio stuff. But
and you sing, that's for the record, she sung for everybody. From Jada, you was in Wicked Wisdom.
I was in her rock band.
Jada Pinkett
Coolio
Smith.
was right after I did Snoop. Coolio gave me all my credit.
MC Hammer.
MC Hammer, I was a dancer.
Deborah Cox.
Deborah Cox, I did the demo for.
Brandy.
Brandy, I toured with.
I mean, your list is just like...
Kelly Rowland, I toured with. Tevin Campbell, I toured with.
Tevin Campbell.
Yeah, the 90s and the early 2000s, I worked. I was very blessed. I worked for about 20 years. And I kind of just, as far as with the song, just put it on the back burner. It was just like...
Yeah, because you didn't really need it
No,
anymore.
and I was working, and people felt, who knew me would say, oh my God, is that you? And I'm like, yeah, that's me, because they knew my voice. And maybe around 5-6 years ago, I just woke up one morning and I said, I'm going to try again. And I called the union. And at this time, Suge was in jail.
Right.
And
different set of rules.
Low key, I was going to call the homies and be like, somebody ride with me down to the jail.
Right.
And I'm going to get a jailhouse confession.
Right.
You know, and they was like, it doesn't matter. He sold everything. Because he had sold all his rights.
Right, he had sold the rights, right.
So I called and they said, well, if you can get somebody to say that's you, and we notarize it, we'll add you as a background singer. But this was just with AFTRA and SAG.
Only.
So, only, because they created a fund in the year of 2000 where 5% of all performance royalties goes to the musicians and the singers on the record. So let's say if there was 5 of us and we had to split that 5%.
Right.
You know, so I was naming the people who was there with me that night. Nobody's name's on there.
Oh, wow.
She names a girl named Nancy Fletcher. I want to give Nancy, shout out to Nancy Fletcher.
Hey, Nancy.
But Nancy, I didn't know her, called her friend, said, you know this girl named Nancy Fletcher? Yeah, she lives in New York now. Called her. As soon as she picks up the phone, she said, I've been looking for you for 20 years. She said, I've been looking for you for 20 years. She said, I thought you were, she said, at first, I thought you were someone from JJ Fad, so we started swapping stories. Nancy ended up being the next voice on all that music. She's on Keep Your Head Ringing. Hey, you, sitting over there. She's doing all of that stuff. She's on Lottie Dottie. She's on Tupac stuff.
She's on everything.
So, yeah, she came in after me. So come to find out, that chorus that we did on Snoop's record with all of us around the booth, she re-recorded.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if he kept us very low underneath, but she re-recorded it. That night, she said, who's this girl doing the ad-libs? And Dre was like, oh, she's a girl from the neighborhood that we know.
Oh, wow.
So she had been looking for me when that rule came into play that we had to get 5%. She filed her claims. She had been getting royalties. There was a guy that played bass. He's the only other person listed. So she wrote the letter, and I got that credit. Once I got that, it helped me try to get other things.
Absolutely. Because
that was in place with my name.
Wow. And isn't it true that the woman who is considered the death row female ad-libber, she tried to take credit for this? Yeah.
I heard about this. It probably was about...
You don't have to say her name.
I'm not going to say her name, but maybe about 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I tried to get connected with her. She wouldn't meet with me.
Wow.
But she was trying to write a book or something, and she was saying that was her on that song.
So you and I met because of a group that was signed to my label, LA Mass Choir. We met through that. Now, I didn't know, little did I know, that you were a legend. What brought you to a place where your faith is now included in all the stuff that you do that's not necessarily of faith?
No, you know what? It was easy because I was already singing because with the James Cleveland, I was already singing in church. I was already singing and stuff. I was in LA Mass first before I started doing all that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was in high school in LA Mass.
Wow.
So when we met, it was the reunion.
Right, of course.
But yeah, I was in high school. I was super young compared to the rest of them.
So Donald Taylor, who was the head of that choir.
He was my church choir
director. He was your church, okay, gotcha.
And so he had, my sister was in the group. He put us all in the group. And I was in the group. I was very young. And so one thing though, when I would go in the studio, I always tried to present myself, not churchy, but like where they knew, where it was the joke. Every time I went with Coolio, he would say, all right, Shana, so everybody out, no smoking, no drinking, put that drink up, get that smoke out of here. And I used to be like, boy, you ain't got to do all that, it's all right, you know.
Right.
Because I was the homie to him, you know, we met in Long Beach, in the neighborhood.
You're from Long Beach,
I'm from Carson.
Carson, okay.
Yeah, but my friend, one of my good friends that went to church with me, she braided his hair. She created Demi, shout out to Demi.
Coolio.
Yeah, she created that weird braid style for Coolio.
Wow.
She connected us.
Wow.
When he was still doing his album. So I'm on the Gangsta's Paradise album.
Oh, you're on the Gangsta's Paradise record?
I'm on the Gangsta's Paradise album.
Did you sing on that song too?
I sang a little bit on that song, and then I'm featured on a song called For My Sisters.
Yes, I know that. Wow.
Yeah, so I did Jay Leno's, I did all that. So I think people would know where I didn't have to go in there and be like, church, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Right.
But they knew I was different than other singers and people that were coming in there.
Right.
And they just gave me like a respect. I never had any issues. No one ever tripped on me. No one tried to get with me. I just didn't deal with any of that.
Right.
And I came in there like, I'm ready to work.
You're professional.
Even with Eazy-E, when I did Michel'le's album, I was like, well, we getting paid. And he was like, well, I got to go to the ATM, and ATMs were new.
Right.
I didn't even have a card yet, right? And I said, well, what is an ATM? We need to go get it. I know the BANK.
Right.
Because I thought it was something. And so I jumped in his Suzuki Samurai, and we drove to the ATM so he can give me my money.
So you made, wait a minute, you made Eazy-E get in the car and give you your money.
Yep. I said, we're going to go right now.
That should have been in the movie. Straight Outta Compton.
It's funny, yeah. Even in that movie, it's a certain couple scenes, and I was like, "Ooh, we were there," you know.
There's a scene in Straight Outta Compton. I think you told me where Eazy-E, or you were recording. Was it Michel'le?
It was in the Michel'le story.
Okay, Michel'le. Okay.
Where it shows her, and I guess I don't know if something happened with her.
And
she
Dr.
wasn't
Dre.
singing. Yeah, and she said they show all these people coming in. We were the girls that came in.
Wow.
And that studio in Torrance was where we were. We recorded at that studio in Torrance.
For the song Something in My Heart.
Something in My Heart, Keep Watching. did I do Nicety? I didn't do Nicety. She did, I think, her own vocals on Nicety. There's like 3 or 4, but Something in My Heart and Keep Watching are the main 2. You can clearly hear my voice on the backgrounds on that.
You can clearly hear your voice on the Deborah Cox song. Tell me the Deborah Cox story, because that story to me blew my mind.
So by that time, I was working for Montel Jordan.
And I can hear you singing, by the way. I know your voice.
Aww.
If you listen to that song, I know I can hear you.
Yeah,
like,
I was working for Montel Jordan at that time, doing tours.
This is how we do it.
Yes, I was doing the little Black Play circuit, and then I would come home on a summer and weekends, and I did gigs with Montel.
Right.
Montel had a partner named Shep Crawford, and all of us were in the band together. And they all ended up, Shep, I mean, he Grammy nominated, he might have won a Grammy, I don't know, but he ended up blowing up. Shep and Montel wrote that song. So they used to use all of us singers to do the demos. And so we would do the backgrounds, and we would do the demos, and that song actually, I think Shep brought in some other people, and they did some background on it too. But yeah, to make it sound fuller.
Right.
And I did the demo, and pretty much, like, the way they worked is line for line. They would record and kind of tell you how to do stuff.
Right.
And when she hit that high note, that was super high for me. And that woo that she does, that was my woo because I was out of breath.
Wait a minute.
She did the same woo.
So she does it in the song thinking that's
she
part of the song.
She does it as like a woo, but I did it because I was out of breath.
Wow.
And I asked him to take it out, and he was like, nah, it sounds cool. Because it was so high. And but they were pushing me, and I recorded it line in sections, you know. Yeah, I did the demo for that one too.
Wow. The song is, the name of it?
Oh, God. Oh, why am I drawing a blank?
How Did We Get Here?
Yeah, how'd you get,
Deborah
yeah,
Cox.
How'd You Get Here?
Yeah, that was her first single, her first hit.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
No, it's called Nobody's Supposed to Be Here.
Nobody's supposed to be here.
Nobody's
yeah, I just wanted to get.
supposed to be
right,
here.
right.
I tried that love thing. Yep.
For the last time. Yeah. So you are now doing, and I'm supposed to be doing a video, but you ain't never called me.
I didn't finish the song yet.
Okay, I'm finna say, don't get beat up right here. No. We talk like this to each other, so I don't beat up women, to make it clear.
No, he doesn't.
No, I don't do that. So you're doing children's music.
Yes, I during the pandemic.
And it's a really beautiful song, the ABC song. It's so catchy.
It's called the ABC Shuffle.
It's so catchy.
My children's name is Shana Dee Sings.
Okay.
And it's called the ABC Shuffle. And yeah, just during the pandemic, all the riots were going on. And I looked over at my son, and he was like in tears, and he was just like, Mom, I just miss my friends. And
oh, wow.
And he needed community. And I said, God, I wish I could do something good. And you know, being in LA, everything was shut down forever. And we couldn't volunteer places, we couldn't do stuff. So I just wrote that song in probably like 15, 20 minutes. And I found a guy to help me with the track, and Eric Dennis, and he helped me with the track. And I went in the studio, produced it, did everything myself. I did the backgrounds, I did everything myself. The little kids, yay, I was doing all of that because the guy wouldn't let me bring people in the studio. And it was just something that I wanted to do. And now I love it. So I want to do another song. I really love doing children's music. It's more urban-inspired children's music. DJ Willie Wow, he's on Sirius XM. He's been playing my song. Shout out to him. So yeah, it's just slowly, you know, building momentum. And
so your focus is going to be children's music now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will still do some studio work if someone needs me in background, but I'm not trying to be, see, me as an artist is a children's artist.
Right.
But I'll do background. Yeah, I'll do background for whoever. You know, that's the coin. But, you know, back to the Snoop song, though, I would love to get featuring status. So that's what I'm trying to get.
Well, you know, Snoop, we were booking him, or he's booked, we're supposed to be booked for this season 7. So I was hoping that you guys could have hooked up.
That would have been great because.
But maybe he'll be in season 8. I don't know. We'll see. But let me ask you this. What can people do to make sure you get your credit?
I mean, right now I'm asking people to tag on social media.
Okay.
You know, they can follow me on Instagram and Facebook under Shana Dee Sings, but mostly Instagram is where I post a lot of that content, and people share it. They tag him. He owns Death Row Records.
Yeah, he owns
it. And so and as the artist, he's the only one that can give me featuring status, which would give me a cut of a bigger pie of the royalties. And so, you know, they can only go back so many years in royalties. So for me, it's like, I'm not worried about, I'm sure millions is what I've lost, right?
Of course.
But it's about respect. It's about leaving a legacy for my son. So people, if they know him, help me get a meeting, tag, you know, Dr. Dre knows it's me. He knows He knows me.
Yeah, Dre definitely.
So even if someone's connected with Dr. Dre, they can get the Snoop, he can verify, yeah, that's her that did the song.
And we'll take a snippet from this show, and I'll send it to Snoop or his people, and
that would be awesome.
We'll put it up.
Yeah,
we'll make sure.
Yeah, so I got the Billboard Award because someone saw a post that I did on Instagram asking people to help me. And
oh, so you got a Billboard Award and you got the plaque.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's
the
cool.
Billboard Award is what I actually have posted right now. But yeah, and I went back and did a video like, look, because with the Billboard, it's dated 1993.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a Billboard Award is from sales on the chart, and can't nobody take that away from me.
Can't nobody take that away from you.
You know, plaques you can purchase. Sometimes you can purchase them, right?
Right.
But Billboard, you cannot.
Right.
So that was huge that the guy, he helped me get that. And he kind of helped me, went through a backdoor route, and we showed proof it was me. It helped that I had the AFM, the after stuff set up. So it all just ran full circle. But I wanted to say Snoop Dogg featuring Shana Dee.
That would be so awesome.
You know, that's what I want.
That would be awesome.
Yay!
That would be awesome.
I'm going to get it one day.
You're going to get it. You're going to get it.
I'm going to get it one day.
You were close, too, because, like I said, we were booked. We thought we had him booked actually for this season. And so maybe he still might do it. I don't know. Schedule's crazy.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool to have him do the show and then have you come in and
I just feel in my heart, if I could connect with him and sit down with him, I think that he has a kind heart for people. And he knows how things happen. And, you know, a lot of us, like the OK Player article, there's a lot of singers from the 90s.
Questlove owns OK Player, right?
Oh, I think he does. Yeah.
Questlove owns that.
It's a very popular magazine.
Very
popular. I was honored when the guy he saw my Billboard post.
Right.
Reached out to me, I think his name was The Day, and he interviewed me and put it in there with other singers that have not gotten their credit. And these are voices that you hear and dance to all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I was just in the gym, and I was like, that's my friend, you know.
Yeah.
That, you know, and it's great to see, though, that it's coming full circle.
Yeah, it is. I'm just trying to be
patient. I think Snoop he's definitely going to hook it up once. I
hope so.
He finds out about it. So let me ask you this. So as we wrap this up, what is your goals in the future, and what are your plans in music?
Goals in the future definitely is to do more children's music. So if there's anyone out there in the education world, you know, I would probably say first grade and under. Just support me. You know, I'm on all streaming platforms. And then from there, I want to get my son. My son is a musician, so I want to.
He wants to do Broadway, by the way,
he wants to do Broadway. So
he's into Broadway.
He's into Broadway.
And he's how old?
He's 14.
14. Wow.
And he reads music and everything. And so I'm going to actually set him up to start being a songwriter and have him write with me and start trying to build generational wealth with him. That's really a big goal of mine. I mean, ultimately, if I could get the children's music really popping, and then if I could, a short-term goal would be to perform the Snoop song with Snoop.
That would be dope.
But, you know.
That would be dope.
Yeah, so that's kind of like my goals and where I'm at right now, you know. And then eventually I would love to open a performing arts preschool. That's a big goal of mine. I've always wanted to do it. Yeah, performing arts preschool.
That's a really good idea.
Where part of the electives would be, we're teaching them, and I bring in people to teach piano, dance, acting. And I went to one. I went to one in Compton called Little Lamb Nursery School.
Yeah.
And it was performing arts. And so I would love to be able to invest and open one like into that, and, you know, outsource the teachers, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And make that my main source of income, my business. Make it a business.
Well, Shana Dee, I am so glad that you did the show. If people want to get in touch with you, let's pitch. All
right. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm on all social media. Shana Dee Sings, ShanaDeesings. Follow me, DM me, I respond. I'm on TikTok, YouTube. If you go on YouTube, I need people to hit the subscribe button because I'm getting a lot of views. They won't pay me because I don't have 1,000 subscribers. So I need 1,000 subscribers. So if you can do that, that would be great. And yeah, let's connect. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you. Till next time, guys, be blessed. Carl Jackson Podcast. Peace. That was good.